Good afternoon. Welcome to the Finance Committee, October 6, 2025. I want to welcome everybody. You will have Commissioner Collins say the blessing, and Commissioner Slater will lead us in the pledge. Would please stand.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, nation under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice.
Okay, thank you very much. If we'll go to our agenda, I'm going to change things a little bit around. First, we'll go to the mayor real quick, see if you have anything. Mayor Davis, you recognize you hitting?
No, sir, nothing to report other than the amendments later.
Very good. So originally, I was just going to have our guests here do their presentations, but looking at the amendments, there's really not that many of them. We can go ahead and knock those out and then circle back over to them. It won't take too long. There's not that many. Usually there's a lot, but there's only 16 this week. So if we go ahead and knock out the amendments, then we'll circle back over and we'll start with the presentations and stuff. So you would go to your amendments. On the first one we have is finance. Decreasing the fund balance, increasing the expenses, 31,000. This is for the Boys and Girls Club. Keep note that this is out of Fund 111, which is the opioid one we're going to be talking about here. So that's the amendment. Do I have a motion to accept the amendment as presented? I have a motion from Commissioner Alford. I have a second from Commissioner Slater. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Passes 5-0. The next budget amendments from Tri-State. Excuse me. Excuse me. You're in 124, which is their own fund, and they're moving within their account $20,000. I have a motion to accept the amendment. I have a motion from Commissioner Slater. I have a second from Commissioner Hughes. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Passes 5-0. Moving on to the next budget amendments from the Register of Deeds. She's decreasing her reserve account. This is an account that's specifically for her to move over. She's moving $82,583.17, and she's putting it all in her data processing line. Do I have a motion to accept the amendment as presented? I have a motion from Commissioner Alford. I have a second from Commissioner Hughes. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Passes 5-0. Moving on to the next budget amendment, Circuit Clerk. She is decreasing also her reserve account, specifically for her, $47,259.11, and increasing it into her data processing and data processing equipment. And she's itemized it down here at the bottom. Do I have a motion to accept the amendment? I have a motion from Commissioner Hughes. I have a second from Commissioner Collins. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Passes 5-0. Sticking with the circuit clerk, she's decreasing her fund balance of $32,134.79 and also putting it in data processing. This is to get her through the budget year, to the June of next year, $32,134.79. Do I have a motion to accept the amendment? I have a motion from Commissioner Slater. I have a second from Commissioner Alford. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Passes 5-0. Moving on to the next budget amendment, misdemeanor probation. Excuse me. Moving money out of the alcohol and drug treatment, $14,277, and putting it in line in the account 53910, line 368, drug and DUI court program. Do I have a motion to accept the amendment? I have a motion from Commissioner Slater. I have a second from Commissioner Hughes. I'm gonna make one quick note on there. This $14,000 is after the $10,000 that goes into the ankle bracelet program. So the other $14,277 will go to Judge Freiberg's program, right? Did I get that right? Thanks, Caleb. So that'll be the allotment for the DUI. We have a motion. We have a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 5-0. Moving on to court community service. Whole whopping $600, increase in revenue, increase in expenses, so it's money coming in. I have a motion from Commissioner Hughes. I have a second from Commissioner Alford. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 5-0. And there you see the check and supporting documentation. Southeast Tennessee Community Corrections, decrease in expenses by $2,000. Increase in expenses is basically moving money within an account. Do I have a motion to accept the amendment? I have a motion from Commissioner Hughes. I have a second from Commissioner Slater. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Passes 5-0. Moving on to the next one, Bradley County Sheriff's Office, increase in revenue, increase in expenses, money's coming in. This is the grant money that was awarded for mental health transports for the budget of 25-26. I have a motion to accept the amendment. It's $128,906, by the way. I have a motion from Commissioner Alford. I have a second from Commissioner Collins. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Passes 5-0. Excuse me. Sticking with the Bradley County Sheriff's Office, she's decreasing the fund balance, increasing expenses, and it's going into her account, line 354, $35,139. Transportation, this is a grant also. Do I have a motion to accept the the amendment from Commissioner Alford, second from Commissioner Hughes? Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Passes 5-0. There you see the Department of Finance Administration documentation. That takes us to page 16, Bradley County Sheriff's Office. Increase in revenue, increase in expenses of $3,000, and it's going into line 106. And this is also a grant. Motion to accept the amendment from Commissioner Slater. I have a second from Commissioner Collins. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 5-0. And there you have the supporting documentation, received documentation. That takes us to page, is that 19? I can barely see it on top there. And she got out her pen. Anyway, a whole $105.86. Increase in revenue, increase in expenses. Restitution from a former inmate. You have a motion to accept the amendment from Commissioner Alford. I have a second from Commissioner Collins. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 5-0. And there you see the check. Sticking with the Bradley County Sheriff's Office, increase in revenue, increase in expenses of $44,928, and it's going into part-time personnel and Social Security. I'll have a question for you here in a second, Caleb. Do I have a motion to accept the amendment from Commissioner Slater? I have a second from Commissioner Alford. Caleb, they took the money and obviously put it in an expense line item in 169 for part-time personnel, and they put enough in there for Social Security. But what about the others, FICA, and I'm assuming they have enough in there to cover it, but it seems odd to me that they would put Social Security money in there but not FICA or Medicare.
I can check into that if you want me to. I'm
Yeah,
not
that's fine. I mean,
sure.
if they have enough in there to cover their Medicare piece of it, but all right, we already have a motion. We have a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 5-0. Moving on to the next budget amendment. There you see the check. Sticking with the Bradley County Sheriff's Office, increase in revenue, increase in expenses of $45. And she's itemized, it's just in going into overtime. I have a motion to accept the amendment. I have a motion from Commissioner Slater. I have a second from Commissioner Hughes. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 5-0. And there you see the check. Moving on to the medical examiner. She is decreasing the fund balance of $46,228.60 and moving it into 718 vehicles. She's gonna. This falls under she's reports to you, right? She needs a.
This is a vehicle that was wrecked. It was parked in a driveway and someone plowed into it. They totaled the vehicle, and this is money being put in the proper line to replace that vehicle.
Okay, so the insurance money has already been put into and now we're pulling it back out of the fund balance. Very good. Do I have a motion to accept the amendment? I have a motion from Commissioner Hughes. I have a second from Commissioner Collins. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 5-0. Now we're with UT Extension Hannah, Director Hannah. She's decreasing the fund balance and increasing expenses, building maintenance. This is also an insurance check, $6,500. Do I have a motion to accept the amendment? I have a motion from Commissioner Hughes. I have a second from Commissioner Slater. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 5-0. That should be all, Mayor, unless you have an extra one. All right. Very good. Those will be on the consent agenda voting session. That brings us to item 3 on the agenda. Before we go any further, though, I failed to welcome our new commissioner, Commissioner Hughes. Welcome back. took a vacation for a couple of years, but he's back. Welcome back, Commissioner Hughes. Looking forward to working with you. Few things. This is the we put on the agenda. This is where we're going to be chatting with you guys. We have I don't know if they have the order, Caring Place, Foundation House, Bradley Prevention, Boys and Girls Club, ATS The Bridge, Cares Health, Cleveland Emergency Shelter, and Willow Bend Farms. So that'll be the order when we get to there. I think most of you have been through this process and worked with us on the opioid money. As you well know, there's more demand than there is supply as far as financing goes. So that puts us in a spot of having to next month put together a package or whatever, and that's kind of what we'll do. We'll just basically today listen and ask questions and get to know what you're doing and all that kind of stuff. And then at the November Finance Committee meeting is when we'll vote to make a recommendation to the full commission. So Finance will meet that first Monday in November, put together a recommendation for the full commission that night, right? Yeah. And then Lori will get with you on the timing and all that kind of stuff with the mayor's office and stuff like that. All right. So let's go ahead and get started with that. Sydney from the Caring Place. Afternoon and welcome.
Thank you for allowing me to share that video. I wanted you to be able to see some of the faces of the people who've been impacted by the opioid funds. One person in the video, Deanna, who was talking about being in addiction, being in recovery, she received opioid funds in 2024 and actually came back to tell her story after graduating from recovery court. And she shared at that point that she was taking her kids on vacation for the very first time. So really are seeing lives transformed through that. And then I'll talk a little bit more about Kim. She is our programs assistant who was speaking as well. And she's in recovery. She graduated from recovery court and came through our Getting Ahead program. And she is now our programs assistant, taking leadership in volunteer training and recruitment, and also facilitating our Getting Ahead program. But I will go through my PowerPoint slides, and I will go quick since our video went through several of them. I'm going to go over some numbers, so they'll pop up soon. I know it's a lot easier to kind of see the numbers, things. But our resource market provides free food and clothing with a client choice model so that people can pick out the items that they need. We provide food to an average of 1,250 households per month, and 79% of those households choose to also shop for clothing when they come in. And an interesting data point that we gained just this last month was that 57% of households report that they do not receive food stamps. And so that suggests that we are serving a significant number of those who fall into the ALICE population. And that comes from research that United Way does on those who are asset limited and income constrained but employed. Perfect. And skip ahead to this slide. Thanks. We also provide SAC packs to an average of 545 students per week in the county school system. Through our Opportunity Center, we provide professional case management services, housing stability support, and empowerment programming. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that because that is primarily where those opioid funds are used. And last year, we provided services to 1,370 households through that case management programs. And then spiritual care, we provide devotions and prayer for those that request it. Neighbors often share that our organization is a refuge in their church. And I just want to note that that is always optional. It's support there if you would like it. It is never a requirement. Right, so community case management is connection to local resources, a review of financial needs in your budget. We do a lot more than just reviewing your budget, but it's a great starting point to see where the gaps are. Short-term case management and support, assistance creating a plan to meet stability goals, limited financial assistance primarily for housing stability. And in the last year, we had 581 case management appointments representing 664 adults and 758 children within those households. We had nearly $400,000 in direct support payments for rent and utilities. You will see that the amount we are requesting this year for opioid funds is increasing, and that's because there is a reduction in funds that are being allocated at the state level for rent and utility assistance going into this next year. And approximately 20% of households choose to engage in ongoing case management once they come in to receive some financial support. For housing stability support, we participate with the Chattanooga Regional Homeless Coalition for coordinated entry into housing services, assistance with basic needs, access to on-site shower and laundry facilities, and document collection. We also partner with United Way's Housing United program, and United Way provides housing navigation and workshops and funds the case management through the Caring Place, where we are able to move families into homes and follow up with them for 6 months to make sure that they're able to maintain their home. In the last year, we did 131 coordinated housing assessments, 586 outreach appointments, 262 showers, 163 loads of laundry, and 20 people were housed through Housing United. And I just want to highlight, I'm going over all of this because recipients of Bradley County opioid funds have access to whatever program is the most appropriate fit for them. So these are the types of services they will receive. But our goal is to focus on empowerment programming really for everyone who comes through the door. So Getting Ahead is our peer-based group that explores socioeconomic conditions to build long-term stability. Our goal is to improve resources in 11 key areas and increase stability in 15 areas. And on average, all resources show an increase, except for transportation. So I'll leave that there for another conversation. And then self-assessment scores for stability also increase, but the most significant increase is in integrity. You can think back to what Deanna said about not thinking about having to steal from the store when she goes. We saw the most significant jump in integrity, which is the extent to which someone can be trusted to keep their word and set high ethical standards at work, at school, and in the community. In the last year, we've had 47 participants in Getting Ahead, 42 graduates, almost a 90% graduation rate, and 33% of those who've received Bradley County recovery funds are graduates of the Getting Ahead program. And it's also, as I mentioned before, being led by a recovery court graduate. We also have empowerment workshops led by our partners at that are listed up here. I won't go through all of them, but I'm sure you're familiar with a lot of the work that they do. And in the last year, we had 30 workshops and 130 unduplicated participants in those workshops. So I wanted to give a little update on specifically the opioid funds. So in 2024, we had 35 unduplicated households, over $44,000 in direct support payments. That goes to rent and utilities. $2,700 in training through our Getting Ahead program, and just over $2,000 in case management. So far in 2025, this is just to date, so we're on track to meet or exceed what we did in 2024. We've had 30 unduplicated households, over $25,000 in direct support payments, over $6,000 in life skill training, and we have just over $17,000 remaining. That does not yet include case management, and that's because up until the end of the year, we prioritize direct support payments for our participants in the program. So for eligibility, you have to be a resident of Bradley County, currently in recovery from a substance use disorder related to opioid use. And to receive financial stability support, it's always based on an assessment of the household budget in relation to overall stability goals. And our proposed budget for the new grant year is $75,000, and we're projecting to serve 50 unique households. So within these services, housing stability financial assistance is really where we want to focus, again, because of the decrease in funds that are available coming from the state level. We make future story action plans with people. We want to help them move from just getting by to getting ahead. Life skill training, transportation services, case management, and employment training. So an example of process is we might receive a referral from a school counselor. And if the parent is in recovery from a substance use disorder related to opioid, we would determine eligibility for enrollment in a program to receive support, and then the individual will be enrolled and have follow-up with a case manager to develop their stability plan. I have an example for you of what a stability plan might include. It could include mental health services, which could be short-term counseling at the caring place while people try to connect to more formal supports through services like volunteer behavioral health or mental health cooperative, rental assistance based on client's budget, job skill resources, specifically connection to partners such as the American Job Center and City Fields, and then a monthly meeting with a case manager to track progress, celebrate wins, and to set new goals once those are met. Our budget for the new year is $60,000 in financial assistance, so housing, employment training, childcare, and transportation, $7,500 in case management costs, and $7,500 in participant training, and that's specifically for our Getting Ahead program. And I really appreciate your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your video and your presentation. Does anyone have any questions for Commissioner Slater, please?
So I think you've clarified it, but at the beginning of your the document that we have, it says proposed dollar amount is $50,000.
Yes, there was a couple typos on the budget in the initial application, and I have submitted a revised version to Lori correcting that.
And then under the activity part, it only totals $60,000 and not $75,000.
Yes, I corrected that in the revised one as
I'm
well.
just so you're asking for $75,000.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Any other views, Commissioner Slater? If not, thank you very much. I appreciate you. All right, we'll go to number 2, Foundation House. Susanna Byrne. Hello.
How are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
Good, good. I'm good. We are so glad to be here today. Just as I sit in here and I listen, especially to the caring place that's already presented, but knowing who all else will be presenting today, I don't envy you the decisions you're going to have to make. I was just telling our so with me today is Christy, who's our AmeriCorps Vista, and working in the development team. She's here through the United Way, and so I was just briefing her on who's here and how all of this works. And I was just explaining to her how unique our community is and how wonderful we all work together. And so again, I commend you on doing this process, and I commend the other organizations because they are all incredibly fantastic. I've worked with all of them for many years. Foundation House works differently. I find it so fascinating that the Caring Place serves over 1,000 families per month, and we work with maybe 5 clients at a time, but we work 24/7. So we're a residential program serving mothers in crisis. And of course, if we count their children, then that number definitely increases as well. But one of the things that we've seen happen in the last year or so because of the opioid crisis is we're seeing a lot more mothers coming in with older children, and we're also seeing moms come in who are giving birth in addiction. And so mom and baby are both addicted at the time of the baby's birth. We had 2 clients come in the month of March this year, one of which is still with us and one is not. They came in back to back within the same week, both coming in, baby born addicted in the neonatal unit, going through the detox program. Both babies went into foster care. Megan's baby went into a family placement after the baby recovered, and she has been slowly over time healing, recovering, learning how to parent. She also has an older daughter that she's now getting visitation of. We have her staying in the at Foundation House at the residence this week because it's fall break, and she is beginning to get overnight visits with her infant son, and the expectation is that she will get full permanent custody in November. So she's slowly working through that process. Our other client, Jasmine, her baby went into traditional foster care, a non-family placement, and that's a very difficult place to be right now because there are very few homes available. And so the pressure has been on her to hurry up and be ready to get the baby back. Where Megan has had some forced limitations that have bought her time to more slowly, more completely heal from the trauma of her past. Jasmine was really being pushed to just get ready faster, to just do this more quickly. And ultimately that caught up with her, and she ended up having to leave the program in July because when we picked her up from her intensive outpatient program, she confessed as she was getting in the car with us that she had just purchased some fentanyl and had just taken it just a few minutes prior. So we got her back into rehab for now a second time, and we have been continuing to work with her through that, but she has not chosen to come back into the program. She has chosen to go back into active addiction. And that is so hard because we see these babies, we see these moms, they become our babies. The moms very much do. And even though there's about a decade difference in the age between Megan and Jasmine, and I do think that has some relevance to the decisions that they've made, it always comes down to personal choice, to being ready to actually give up the addiction lifestyle. It is such a powerful draw. It is such a it's such a painful thing, not just physically, but emotionally and socially. And so one of the ways in which Foundation House operates is we work to become part of her long-term lasting family structure. We may not be family of origin, but we can absolutely be her encouragement, her support system. We're the ones that are there at 2 o'clock in the morning when she's crying out, when she's struggling. We're the ones that are sitting here in court with her when she's going through criminal charges or when she's promising the judge that this time will be different and this time she deserves to get custody back of her child. Sometimes that's accurate, and sometimes we have to stand before the judge and say, she's not ready. She's just not ready. And so addiction is such an unusual thing. When our moms come in, they're no longer physically addicted. We are not a detox program. We are not a medical program. but she is very much still emotionally addicted. So we have developed a process that starts with the immediate recovery, what we call relapse prevention, where we provide the structure around her. We are the ones ensuring that she is not going back into active addiction. We don't allow her to walk over here to Lassiter's to get a cup of coffee. We're going to go with her because we know how easy it is for her to just wander and to just find drugs so easily. They are absolutely everywhere. And so slowly over time, she no longer needs us to be the main focus of her relapse prevention. And we're able to shift her into recovery maintenance. And this is where she begins to take ownership of her lasting stability, where she begins to think along the lines of, that is not who I am any longer. I am not an addict in recovery. I am simply a mother. I am simply an employee. I am simply a member of the community. And that takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of faith in herself. And a lot of times, one of the biggest challenges for us is her family of origin, who may have custody of her children, but who have very much been burned, who have very much seen the devastation that addiction caused in their household because of her. Sometimes she has to eat some crow. She has to apologize. She may have to make restitution for theft, for lies, for making these promises and then falling back into old patterns. It's a very long, slow process of rebuilding that trust, rebuilding that faith. But it's so worth it. Because now, many of you already know that 2 of our graduates are currently on staff. And so we see that family reunited. We see the parents of these women who were once in active addiction, who once dreaded the phone ringing, saying that, she's overdosed or she's no longer with us. And now to see them fully functioning in society, serving as case managers, serving as program directors, providing that new level of support to yet more moms, more children. It's such a beautiful circle of life situation that I'm very honored to be a part of. Every one of these moms that come through our doors were made in the image of Christ. They deserve the opportunity to have the life more abundantly that Jesus promises. The problem is, all too often, they don't believe it for themselves. And that is the hardest piece for us. That is the most difficult piece for us to break, is to get her to a place where she begins to believe it for herself. Thank you. Yes, sir. Fantastic. So one of the things that we have seen is the big state grant that we've gotten only applies to women who are actively pregnant at the time of connection with us. And we are getting a lot more calls from Department of Children's Services or from Labor and Delivery who these women no longer qualify for those funds. So we've been able to use the Bradley County opioid funds to be able to serve those moms who still are within just a few days of labor and delivery, or maybe the baby is a few months old, but they don't qualify for the state grant. So it's been a great blessing for us to be able to continue to provide services to every mom. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I liken it as a mile deep and an inch wide versus a mile wide and an inch deep. Both are necessary. Both are important. It's like the emergency shelter. It's very necessary, but it's limited in what it does. We also are limited. We're limited in the number of clients we can serve, but we are 24/7, 365, and many of our girls live 6 months to 2 years with us.
Any other questions? Last one is, you opened up your place up in Athens recently, right? How's that
We
going?
did. Yes, it is going well, and that's almost 100% funded through the state grant, and so that's been a really great blessing. We're able to use that as kind of an as 90-day support structure so that we can get moms in, get them triaged, figure out where exactly they need to be, and then get them into either a long-term rehab program like a teen challenge or something like that, or to be able to get them into our house here in Bradley County.
Very good. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you all so much.
All right. All right. The Foundation House Bradley Prevention, Adam. So before he says anything, this is for our school systems, I think both Cleveland and county, fall break, and the director had it scheduled, so I didn't want her to cancel her vacation. I mean, she deserves it like all moms and dads on fall break. So one of the board members, Adam happens to be on the board over there, is going to present to us. So I appreciate it, Adam.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the Finance Committee. Chairman Blake said, my name is Adam Lewis. I'm a board member for the Bradley Prevention Coalition. Amanda Touchstone, who is our executive director, asked me to present on her behalf using the materials and notes that she prepared, so I hope I do those justice this morning. Let me put our request up front. We are seeking $160,000 from Bradley County's opioid settlement funds. We know that's a significant ask. We know there are many worthy groups here today requesting funds. This amount represents our bare minimum operating need, a skeleton staff to stabilize and sustain the services that are working right now. We can go to, okay, sorry. I'll just jump to it. I'd like to share the mission statement and vision statement for the Bradley Prevention Coalition. Our mission statement is to mobilize the community in a unified effort to decrease substance use through raising awareness, improving prevention, collaboration with stakeholders, and addressing gaps in service. And our vision is to promote a safer and healthier community through preventing, deterring, and eliminating substance abuse and related problems. Is there a PowerPoint? Okay. Bottom line, we connect people affected by substance use and mental health to practical help. Treatment placements, court assessments and compliance, monitoring, peer recovery support, as well as reentry resources. Let me go through about 10 of the highlights of what the Bradley Prevention Coalition is a part of in our community. They offer certified peer recovery, which is led by a staff person, Nikki, who is herself in recovery. We address substance use and mental health together because they are obviously and unfortunately linked in many cases. We offer a resource hub that was launched with last year's opioid funds. Law enforcement actually carry stickers, QR stickers, to scan on scene and send referrals directly to us as an organization. A recent example of this, a success story, we were able to help a veteran along with his service dog find housing within a week. Pretty impressive when you consider the housing market, but it shows that the system works. We also like to link families to food and other essentials as well when it's appropriate. We offer court assessments and monitoring at the request of the courts and the DA's office. We facilitate alcohol and drug assessments, help clients follow recommendations, and report compliance monthly. We offer recovery groups. All recovery is open to anyone affected, including family members, and offer a virtual wrap on Thursdays at 2 p.m. We, of course, are involved in prevention and education through drug take-back days, International Overdose Awareness Day, and joint outreach with groups like ATS The Bridge. Treatment linkage, which is our heaviest lift day to day. When appropriate, individuals in custody serve time in treatment instead of jail. This improves outcomes and reduces county costs. Among those released from jail who start treatment, our internal tracking shows that roughly 60% of those folks complete the program. And so that is a pretty strong number for this particular population. Anger management, due to court demand, we've expanded from 1 to 2 classes weekly. That's oftentimes a requirement for folks in the court system. Case management and reentry housing leads, job connections, 2 major reentry resource fairs each year, plus 2 smaller employee-focused events we're also a part of. We are grateful for the funds that we were given last year. I'm on the 3. Corey. We're grateful for the funds we received last year. We planned a substance abuse class in the jail. Using some of those funds, the jail fire actually delayed the implementation of that program. Materials have been purchased, and we are coordinating with Captain Walls and Sheriff Lawson to begin once their operations at the jail normalize. We work closely with the Sheriff's Office, Cleveland Police Department, the DA's office, the Public Defender, Judge Collins, Misdemeanor and State Probation, the American Job Center, the Tennessee Office of Reentry, as well as the DEA. In practice, we provide drug court style support for Sessions Court, monthly updates, compliance monitoring, treatment coordination, all of this without the county funding a standalone Sessions drug court. If we go to the next slide, please. We recently lost 2 major grants totaling $300,000 annually, both the T-Corps grant and the COSAP grant. Our staff has dropped from 5 to 2, yet we've kept core services going. The $160,000 request isn't for a new program. It simply stabilizes operations across everything that I've just described. The work we do directly advances opioid abatement through diversion to treatment when appropriate, provides fewer jail bed days, offers continuity of care, stronger reentry, and sustained prevention. Many counties, similar coalitions are funded, like ours, with a base allocation from the county, their budget, as well as additional grants. So we're asking Bradley County to adopt that stabilization model here with our request today. We will reapply in January for state opioid abatement funding and COSAP funding, the COSAP grant. The last round was lottery-based. It's a multi-year grant that we were awarded. It is a lottery-based grant. We scored high enough to be awarded, but just did not make the cut in the lottery, despite having a high enough score. We are pursuing a youth impact grant, which offers mentoring for youth affected by parental use of drugs, with support from juvenile court and ATS The Bridge. Stacking local support with groups like the United Way, Norfolk Southern, Walmart, VEC, and community donations through events like Spirit Nights at restaurants. These are all helpful, but not sufficient alone to stabilize our operations. So with current resources, we can operate into early next year, 2026. Without settlement support, we face program cuts and likely closure of the organization shortly after January 1st. With $160,000 plus modest community giving, we can sustain essential services while we pursue future grant cycles. On behalf of the coalition and our partners in courts, law enforcement, and workforce services, I respectfully request $160,000 to stabilize countywide services that save money and save lives. Thank you for your stewardship of these funds and for considering this request. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Adam. You said that I think you answered this one. COSAP is a state grant?
COSAP is actually a federal,
Federal? Okay, and
I
then
believe a federal grant, but we are applying for both the COSAP grant as well as state. The state of Tennessee has opioid funding as well through community grants, and
So
so
COSAP
we are
is-
open to any grant opportunity that we would be eligible for.
Okay, so COSAP is federal and T-Course is state,
I believe so, yes.
and that's, you lost both of those. That lottery thing, so, I mean, we all know what a lottery is. Put everything in a hat and close your eyes and pick it, and that's really how, I mean,
You have to meet a certain threshold on your score.
they even
So
have
we-
your name in the
yeah,
hat.
correct.
But then they just picked it out and,
That's right.
the luck of the draw.
That's right.
Okay. This isn't so much a question. Bradley Prevention is in our workhouse area. Remember years ago, we had the, what was it called? Tennessee Recovery was there, and they moved out, and then, Bradley, so they're over there, with
Rich.
probation and the jail and all that. I mean, so right there where all the court action's going on, so to speak. Any questions, Mr. Slater, commissioners, anything? Mayor?
If I could just say a little bit to add to what he said, this was a grant, the COSIP grant was a very large grant that we got 3 years ago, I believe.
Yeah.
It was a 3-year grant. And it ran out. It wasn't that we lost it, it ran out, and now they've got to go through this process. When we first started looking at budgeting the opioid money, I was looking at what was missing. We have adult drug court, we have juvenile drug court, and I said we need a sessions, which is adult drug court, but it's the misdemeanor drug court. The odds are if you have family members, I gotta be careful, but they're gonna be in the sessions court, and there is no drug court there. But when I got to checking on it, like he mentioned, there is a drug court there. It's provided by the coalition. Without the coalition, if you have a grandson or a granddaughter that has turned 18, they're no longer qualified for juvenile drug court. They've not got charged with a crime yet, but they have a drug problem. So they've gotten picked up for possession or whatever. The closest thing to drug court for that age person is the prevention. All of these programs I love to death, but we can't let the Bradley Prevention go away. I think they will get it. I know they'll qualify to get it. If it's done as like you said, who knows what'll be drawn out, but we've got to keep the coalition going. It's something that nobody ever hears about. They don't get any publicity, but I use programs like this to test them sometimes, and several times when I've said who provides this or that, it's the coalition. I'm not making that up. They do things. If you ever have a member get involved with things like this, if there's anybody much that helps them, and we've got programs that hopefully will keep them from doing it. We've got programs that if they've done it and they have a baby, all of those are important. But if you have a family member that has gotten involved and needs help and doesn't fit one of those other criterias, it falls on the coalition. They do so many things. I had no idea until I started personally checking. Having said that, I don't want to take part in your all's decision, but I just want you to know the importance of Bradley Prevention. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Adam. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
No other questions there? All right. That's Bradley Prevention. Boys and Girls Club. We have a document, I believe.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
My name is Kimberly Goins. I'm grants manager for Boys and Girls Clubs of the Aquay region. And so I'm here today presenting on organization's behalf. You do have a couple papers in front of you, and that's kind of what I'm going to be going over. So first of all, I want to thank you for the opportunity to be here today. I've really enjoyed getting to hear from the other organizations that partner with us in Cleveland and Bradley County. I think we all do really crucial and important work. And I've loved getting to hear how their direct service impacts those in active addiction. And then that kind of brings up the question, okay, so where does an after-school organization fit into this when it comes to opioid addiction and that problem that we're seeing in our society? And you can look at our mission that's at the top of that page there. We reach the kids by providing a nurturing environment during out-of-school time. The goal is to help them reach their full potential as producing, caring, and responsible citizens. So in a word, it's prevention. We are working with the kids directly in after-school time to prevent them from getting to the point of even needing these services in the future. And we have done that in the past year by serving over 1,500 youth ages 5 through 18, and that's just in our Bradley County sites. We do that through 7 different after-school sites within Bradley County, and that includes our Teen Workforce Development Center over in the Pie Center. This organization has been existing for 60 years as a cornerstone of the community, offering programs and mentorship for at-risk youth, helping them navigate challenges at home, school, and in life. So first of all, thank you for the funds that we have received in the past. We have definitely put those to great use, and we've done that by teaching a Smart Moves opioid prevention program at our sites that is taught on a weekly basis to our kids kindergarten through 12th grade. And we measure the success of these programs with pre and post tests so we can get very accurate and direct data to show the effect that these programs have on our youth. This program, the Smart Moves curriculum, for our younger kids, because we are seeing, and you are, my other partners here are probably aware of this fact, that unfortunately the opioid issue is affecting those younger and younger and younger, and it's growing in a very sad direction. Point fifth graders are getting vapes confiscated at school, and dab pens and what have you, and so it's something we take very seriously, and we are taking responsibility at doing our part in combating. So we are doing that by educating these kids, even at a young age, in healthy relationships, what that looks like, what good decision making looks like, saying no, and then even identifying what addiction and drugs, opioid looks like in the home and at school. And it has been hugely impactful. For example, one of our kids, his name is Timothy, he was in 4th grade and went through this program in the spring and was very quiet, listened, was attentive, but kind of didn't say much. But a couple months into the spring run of this program, he goes to his director and says, "Miss Elizabeth, can I talk to you?" And so she pulls him into his office and they talk. And he opened up to her about how he's noticed some of these things at home. He didn't realize that that's what was happening. He didn't realize that that was bad. He didn't realize it was harmful. But because of his knowledge that he's gained through this program, he was able to recognize those patterns in his own home and ask for help. And then he also was able to say to her, I don't want to be like that when I grow up. How do I not be like that when I grow up? And so she was able to talk to him and support him in that and get him connected to necessary resources so that he is in a safe environment, and so that in the future he is not prone to repeating this pattern that has been set before him. And that's just one of many, many, many success stories that we have found by implementing this program at our different sites. It is changing lives and trajectories for these youth. So we have we have mentorship opportunities that connect at-risk youth with caring and trained role models. So that is a majority of what these funds support, is the training of our staff who are working directly with these kids. They are the ones, boots on the ground, who are teaching these programs, the Smart Moves curriculum, to these kids. And they are also the ones who are hearing then from these kids, this is how it's impacting me, this is what I'm learning, and this is how I'm going to let it impact my future. And we've also seen strengthened partnership with law enforcement, providing additional resources and support for youth. So we're also kind of flipping the script for many of these kids on their perception of law enforcement, seeing them as our partners in the community and not something to be feared, which unfortunately is very common with many of the kids that we serve. Additionally, we have another success story you can see on this fact sheet here from a girl named Avery, who's age 13. And that's another thing. I mean, we're seeing it in elementary schoolers, middle schoolers, that much more. So Avery said that some girls I know tried to get me to skip school and mess around with stuff I knew could hurt me. Because of smart moves, I remembered how we talked about peer pressure and choosing my future over bad choices, so I said no. Now I feel proud knowing I'm staying on track to reach my goals. So that is some of what we have been doing with these funds, and it has been critical and it has been impactful, and we are hugely, hugely grateful. So moving forward, we're asking for $50,000. This is going to support even more kids because, as you can see, the $31,000 we received was to support 800 kids, and if you see on our fact sheet, we served 1,800 children. So 800, 1,800, that's a pretty big gap, and having that 50,000 would help us fill that gap of serving those kids, getting those staff trained to teach this curriculum to its full fidelity, to impact those kids. And I have some more data on there to better represent what the need is in Bradley County. So 20.5% of children aged 11 through 17 have tried vaping, including 9% of children ages 11 through 15. And then our own data shows a significant percentage of teens feel unprepared to resist peer pressure or engage in leadership roles. So we directly combat those issues, and we take those stats personally, and we want those kids, we know they have a future, we know they can impact those around them, we know that they have what it takes to be leaders in our community, leaders in their schools, and to be caring, productive, and responsible citizens. And that is exactly what we are working to achieve and to help them believe for themselves. And it's working. We see that in our data from the pre and post tests that we administer at those sites. The knowledge of what they understand of opioids has increased by 60%, which is huge for, again, we're talking about 1,800 kids. And their knowledge of what a safe adult is, what healthy behavior looks like, what good decision making looks like, and even teaching them what believing in themselves looks like, and what self-worth, acting in that self-worth. So we plan to expand our program in 2026 to serve beyond that 800 with these funds. We already are doing that, but we need the help. Across our Bradley County sites to expand staff training, ensuring consistent high-quality program delivery and mentorship, enhancing our mentorship opportunities to further build resilience, self-esteem, and leadership skills, strengthening partnerships with local organizations and law enforcement to provide multi-layered support for youth, and implementing advanced evaluation methods, including pre-post testing, participant feedback, and longitudinal tracking to measure lacking impact. So our expected outcomes with these funds would be to increase knowledge and skills to resist peer pressure and avoid substance use, expand mentorship connections for at-risk youth, sustained improvement in healthy decision-making, resilience, and self-esteem among participants, and a program model that can continue to expand regionally, serving as a model for Polk, Monroe, McMinn, and Meigs counties. We have expanded this program using other county funds to reach the other counties that we serve. And so it continues to have a lasting and profound impact across the region. So again, with all that being said, we are requesting $50,000 to fill that gap and to continue to serve the children of our Bradley County community. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Real quick, the implementing advanced evaluation methods, including pre and post testing.
Yes.
Can you expand on testing? You're not testing them whether they're on drugs or not, or just testing?
No, so what it's just testing their awareness and their knowledge. So it's testing them on the curriculum. So the curriculum teaches them, from the youngers, it's more based on healthy decision making, healthy relationships.
So it's not a pass-fail kind of thing?
It is not. It is not. It is just for data purposes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Any other questions, Commissioner Hughes, Commissioner Slater, please?
Thank you. Of the $50,000 that the Boys and Girls Club is requesting, how much of that will be to pay salaries? And if you don't have that answer, if you could get it to Lori,
Absolutely. I don't have that answer.
If you could get it to Ms. Moultrie, I would appreciate it.
Absolutely, I will do that.
Thank you.
Any others? I'm sorry. Very good. Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much.
Appreciate it. All right, the Boys and Girls Clubs, finish that. ATS to Bridge. And you have also documentation here. This is yours.
Hey. All right, greetings, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I'm going to invite you, as I read this packet here, can help you follow along with images from this past year that'll help you take a look at different things that we've been up to. It lists our collaborative efforts, our school involvement, our community events. Have a couple videos for the sake of time. Show two quick videos. I'm going to read this first. On behalf of the Community Foundation of the Aquilla region, the fiscal agent for ATS The Bridge, we want again to thank you for the opportunity to request funds through the opioid abatement disbursement. As stated before, the focus of ATS The Bridge, awareness through students, is education and awareness, which is a must as we continually work on prevention in our community. In the past year, ATS The Bridge has reached more than 35,000 individuals, with most of those being students in our community. Face-to-face presentations, organized events in our community and our schools, churches, and other civic organizations have allowed us the opportunity to educate and share our knowledge not only on the opioid epidemic, but also current drug trends that are affecting our youth and families. We continue to collaborate with our school systems, coordinated school health, law enforcement, district attorney general, 10th Judicial Drug Task Force, our juvenile court system, Bradley County Health Department, FCA local churches, our Bradley Prevention Coalition, and other not-for-profit organizations, not only locally, but neighboring communities as well. We've been asked to share our knowledge with other organizations across our state, to include communities such as Putnam, Lawrence, Franklin, Polk, and McMinn counties over the past year. We were again invited back to present at the Juvenile Court Services Conference in August, where we had the opportunity to share our knowledge about current drug trends among our youth and our Youth Ambassador program. We continue to believe that the continued success and impact that ATS has had throughout the past few years is due in part to the funds that we have been awarded for our organization. The continued and extensive education this has helped to provide has allowed our training, awareness, and positive messaging to go further than ever before. Not only have we noticed a 35% reduction in juvenile drug citations, but an increase in high school ambassadors to over 350 members. The state of Tennessee, as well as other national organizations to include the National Drug Endangered Children Alliance, is taking note of what is happening in Bradley County. ATS is quickly becoming a model for other counties and communities in the realm of drug awareness and education in the overall work of prevention. We are thankful for the opportunity to be considered for further funding in 2026. The request for $55,000 this next year is to be dispersed through the Community Foundation, a local 501c3, will again provide us the opportunity to continue the work we have started and deepen our community impact and further the work of prevention through education and awareness. ATS The Bridge will soon celebrate 10 years as an organization through the state of Tennessee, making us eligible for local funding through the opioid abatement disbursement. Thank you for your consideration. And as we prepare to show these videos, I want you to be able to see our ATS ambassadors really in action. And as we prepared our new school campaign year to year, we change our positive messaging and our prevention strategies as far as, you know, what message do we want to put out there. This year, our campaign is Take the Lead. We've done so much work the past 3 years talking about drugs that this year we felt the need to switch the messaging to not just awareness, but encouraging students to take the lead in their own lives, and with really the main point being the hardest thing you'll ever have to do is lead yourself, taking responsibility in their own life to make those wise choices on a daily basis, and working with our ambassadors and training them to be leaders in their community. As the ambassador number has increased in our local high schools, we have more and more students that are hearing a message of hope, but also a message of responsibility, that not only should they keep themselves, you know, to a drug-free standard, but they can be a voice of help and hope and encouragement to their sphere of influence, whether that be their teams, their social circle, their families, their neighborhood, their school. We have a number of drug-free teams that are beginning to spring up throughout our community, teams that are taking pledges to say, hey, we are a drug-free team, athletes that are taking, you know, upon themselves to police their own teams and say, hey, you know, use of any sort of substance is hurting us. It's not going to happen in our team. Our ambassadors are showing up and helping lead in a lot of our talks in middle schools and elementary schools, and it's just incredibly encouraging. So the video that I'd like for us to show first is where it says ATS ambassadors in the middle. It'll just show some of our ambassadors in action this past year. I'd also like to show the last one there where it says Take the Lead. This is our campaign video from this school year. That's our most current ambassador video, and what I love is seeing elementary and middle school students see that and see students that they recognize throughout the community, and they become role models within our community for these kids. And it's interesting hearing with other organizations that they've presented mentioning vaping, and I want to bring to light in one of the pages in the packet alludes to, I'm going to paraphrase it, but the main way that you're going to be able to determine if somebody's going to be ending up in a high-risk situation when it comes to opioids later on in life is if they've ever used THC before the age of 18. And when it comes to vaping, a vast majority of that is going to be nicotine, but when you have THC vapes that are the same kind of devices, and it's the same muscle memory, it's the same way that they operate, there is a very quick transition to THC. But THC in any form, whether it is vaped, whether it's an edible or any form, automatically puts a young person at high risk for opioid abuse later in life, studies are showing. And that's a scary thing. Consider the fact that we're losing over a stadium's full amount of American lives every year to drug overdose, and the majority of that is driven by opioids. So if we're not addressing the vaping issue, we're not really addressing the opioid issue as a whole. So just the work we're all doing, so important. I'm going to turn it over to Xandra, but I want to open the floor for questions as well. Just thank you so much for your support and continued consideration for this upcoming year.
Andrew?
I just want to say that we too believe in our Bradley Prevention Coalition. I want to add that because we have been the longest continuing awareness and prevention organization in our community, celebrating 10 years. We've had people come and go throughout the years, as most of us who've lived here know, but we do believe in our Bradley Prevention Coalition, and what we do is the same. Our mission is to protect the next generation, and that includes their families, and we work very closely with them, and we do work on grants together that we can impact our community as a whole. What we do mainly, as you can see, is we are very, very focused on our schools. We start K through second. We have a program. You can see in the request for funds how we break that down. Because what we know is we have to start talking about this earlier. And that means in kindergarten. You would be surprised at the things these kids are exposed to in their own home. So we do begin to talk about it in kindergarten, and that has been a huge presentation. We also work real closely with our first responders. We have initiated a program in our community called Handle with Care, and Adam can allude to that some as well. It's a very successful program where we connect first responders who are on a scene, and there's a school-age child that is present. They can send a notice that goes directly to our school systems. So we do a lot of different things that are behind the scenes that aren't necessarily standing up in front of people all the time. We have several different programs going, and that is through our Drug Endangered Children, which is through the TBI's Dangerous Drugs Task Force, which is where we get a lot of our training. But I'm open to any questions if y'all have them, and Jared too.
excuse me, thank you very much. On the schools, real quick, obviously you're in the public schools, Cleveland and Bradley County. What about the few private schools or even homeschools? How do you handle them?
Oh, we partner with them on invitation, and we have done some homeschool presentations, co-ops, different organizations where homeschools gather, have had opportunities in private schools as well. If they invite us, we'll be there.
So, I mean, they know about you and they're the catalyst to what you're doing. I mean, I was at the game the other night and you had a great presentation and shirts and all that kind of stuff, but private schools and homeschoolers they're not in public schools. I was just wondering how they get involved.
Well, we've made connections with them through a lot of times. Really, them reaching out and scheduling us. We've offered assistance, help. We always want any organization that needs. A lot of times it's a matter of scheduling.
Very good.
And we are, if I can add to
Yeah.
that, we were offered the opportunity to go speak in Polk County last year, and these students saw our video, and they wanted something like that in their community. So Polk County High School was awarded opioid funds to bring us into their community. And you may have seen 4 or 5 Polk County students in our recent video. So it's growing by leaps and bounds what we're doing here and across our state. We also go to McMinn County frequently and speak there. So
Well,
we're
we
in all
care,
their school systems.
we care about our friends in the other counties, but every county received opioid money, so I assume that the Polk County Commission or Benton City Council, whoever funded their funding as well.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
In the other counties. And I assume that's also for Boys and Girls Club, that, because you're in multiple counties, you have Bradley County money, you have Polk County money and stuff like that.
We don't
Um,
actually receive the money they handle the money in
Yeah.
Polk County. If
Yeah.
we come and do something like we've done here, then they would pay for that. So
10 years on this, and last couple of years you've been working with Bradley Prevention, whatever. So at this point in time, is it fair to say that you've seen some people or kids come through your program, or you've been in front of, that have now graduated high school, perhaps even, and unfortunately made some bad decisions or in Bradley Prevention? And so you're on the prevention side, hopefully eliminating them ever, but statistics are what they are, that you see them over by the time that they get in front of a judge or something like that.
actually, we have. We have a success story of a young girl who was actually going with us and speaking to others. She had encountered addiction in her family, and then she got caught up in it, and then she was clean for several years, and then she had a relapse, and we were able to make a connection with, she was in court with the Bradley Prevention Coalition. She finished her rehab and is now, you'll see her on the Facebook page. She's telling her story a little bit. So we do see it. We see it a lot, and that's why knowing your resources, and we have so many resources here, and we were able to connect the dots, come full circle.
So the common theme, it seems to be, and this is, you have to forgive me, it's not a world I know that well about. I do see what you do out there, is the vaping that you brought up, and it's been brought up in a couple of times. I mean, vaping is illegal, right? I mean, it's for 18-year-olds or younger. So how do you
It
deal with the
is.
fact that they're vaping and they're not supposed to? I know that's a
Well,
naive question, but I don't know.
we've done quite a bit already, believe it or not. We did have an anti-vape task force with both our city and county schools. That was started last year, and we did get a couple of laws changed at the state level. And we did some stings with our new DA and the drug task force. We were a big part of that, and cutting down on those people who are selling to minors.
Good.
And that is one of the things that we are really, really focusing on. So we're being very aggressive. Over 6,100 students under the age of 18 vape for the very first time every day. And that's a 2-year-old statistic, so it's got to be more than that now. So you, like Jared said, but the new statistics are out, and what we know about the use of THC before the age of 18 becoming an opioid abuser later in life, those stats are really high. So we have to talk about that too.
So there's no doubt whatsoever, if somebody says that vaping is quote unquote a gateway, it really is. Those people who argue with me, or anybody, that it can't, it's not, or whatever, are just simply misinformed.
Misinformed.
Yeah.
That's the good word.
Any other questions, Commissioner Slater, Commissioner Hughes, Mayor? Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
ATS, the bridge, CARES Health. Where is that?
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
I'm Kelly Olson. I'm the Director of CARES Community Health. Most of you know, but we're located in downtown Cleveland,
All right.
and we're serving, right around the corner, serving Bradley County. And our mission is to provide affordable health care to people that are low income and underinsured or have no insurance whatsoever. And this is the first year that CARES has applied for opioid grants from the county, opioid funds from the county. So thank you for listening today. I just want to discuss and talk to you about our 10-year history serving Bradley County. Back in 2011, we were formed because of a need for adult dental care, and were able to open up full-time in 2015, and then expanded to include primary medical care, which is our big focus for the opioid screening process that we do in 2021. And then even expanded to include vision services in 2023 with a partnership with the Lions Club. We are serving Bradley and now Polk County residents as of this year. And they are 19 years or older with a household income of 150% or less of the federal poverty level. They do not have medical or dental insurance. And we do require that all of our patients come in for an in-person financial screening to determine eligibility, where we're asking the hard questions. On the dental side, we're providing comprehensive dental services. So not just extractions, but fillings, cleanings, deep cleanings, partials, dentures, root canals, crowns, and now we have just started offering implants on a limited basis. On the medical side, it's primary medical care, but probably a lot better than most of us receive in our own medical offices. We're doing well visits, sick visits, urgent visits. We're also doing mainly chronic disease management, where we're trying to keep people out of the emergency room. We're trying to keep them out of the ICU. And with every new patient, they are being screened for opioid risk use. We have a partnership with the Dispensary of Hope, where we're dispensing medications to our patients for free. That has been over 2.6 million in medications dispensed, and this includes insulin and diabetic supplies. On the vision side, we have screened 246 patients and have referred 82 of those, and have managed to coordinate care with the Lions Club to provide 4 patients with cataract surgery. So what I want to talk to you about, of course, is how we focus on opioid abuse and how we screen every new patient that comes in. You'll see, I believe Lori provided you with our tool that we use with each new patient, where we're screening for their risk. And what that involves is an in-depth conversation with our medical director, who is Dr. Madison Torrance. As you know, most people that struggle with opioid abuse, most of them are lower income, uninsured. They have a history of IV drug abuse or a history of vaping. and use before. So when we can combine family history with personal history of use, we can start talking about referrals, we can start talking about prevention, education, and treatment. So the Primary Medical Care Association recommends that every new patient in a primary care facility is tested for hepatitis C, and this is because of the increased IV drug use that has increased over the years. So every new patient is screened in our facility, and last year we saw 714 unduplicated new patients on the medical side. Each of those were screened for hepatitis C, and of those, we had 12 that were positive. And when that happens, then they go for even further testing, which is a lot more costly of a test. We also provide Narcan for each patient. We offer it, to everyone who wants it for free. We do get this for free ourselves through AmeriCares and Direct Relief, but of course Narcan is vital to prevent opioid death. One of the things that I like to talk about is our wraparound services for opioid abuse. So not only are we screening, educating, referring, we are also treating and providing medical and dental support post-sobriety. We find that many of our patients that have had IV drug use come to us when they are sober and they are trying to become functioning members of the society again. They're trying to get healthy, and this requires, of course, medical and dental support. At this time, I'd like for you to see a short video. Mr. Bennett is one of those patients that we did see post-sobriety and cured him of hepatitis C. I think one thing that was surprising to me that is the cost for the hepatitis C treatment for an uninsured patient can run from $20,000 up to $95,000 for the 12-week treatment. We do partner with a company called Needy Meds, and once we get the patients enrolled in that, it is free to the patient. And most cases of hepatitis C, if it's not treated, it is fatal. It leads to liver failure, and so it is fatal. So our ask is for $30,000. We will use a good portion of this to, number one, screen each new patient. That runs about $7 per patient. And then once that patient is determined to have hepatitis C, the next level is around $100 per patient. So in addition to that, you know, the comorbidities like the high blood pressure, the high cholesterol, just the other things that go along with not taking care of yourself, and along with the paperwork for filing to get these people into the program, and additional office visits, medical supplies, repeat testing after treatment, it goes to about $400 per patient. That's just 12 patients, so about $400 per patient after that. And in addition to that, you'll notice that he received dentures, and I'm sure you can imagine that a lot of patients in sobriety need their teeth replaced, and that's gotten to be very expensive. It's about $650 for a full set of dentures. In private practice, they're charging about $5,000, but our cost is $650. We usually pass that along to our patients, but as you can imagine, that's a lot of money to come up with if you're living on a limited income. So a lot of times we will offer a scholarship to those patients where we do ask them to pay for half of the cost, so they do have skin in the game, but then we try to subsidize the second half of the cost. So that's another line item that we'd like to use the funds for. And I'm sure you can imagine from seeing our wall of fame from the before and after pictures that those patients that receive smile restorations are a lot more likely to become functioning members of the society and not be a drain to our community as they're getting better jobs. In addition, we do have a lot of medical supplies and a lot of med services and equipment that we are using for all of our patients, but you know, specifically for screening all of these patients. Are there any questions that I can answer for anyone?
Thank you very much. Do you have any questions? Any questions from the commissioners? Mayor, anybody? No, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
All right, Caring Place. Cleveland, if I could speak, that'd be great. Cleveland Emergency Shelter is next. Director Ramsey.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
It is an honor to stand before you on behalf of Bradley Cleveland Community Services Agency, your local quasi-government nonprofit community action agency where we assist more than 2,500 households with utility assistance, where we perform wellness checks and deliver nutritious meals, 5,000 nutritious meals monthly to vulnerable senior citizens, where we provide rental housing, distribute USDA commodities to nearly 1,700 households, where we have prevented evictions and or rapidly rehoused 1,100 households, and where we provide more than 60,000 meals to youth 18 and under during the summer months while youth are on summer break. I would be remiss if I didn't thank you for your support of our beloved Senior Activity Center, where we strive to positively impact the quality of life of vulnerable seniors with a wide range of programs and activities. Today, I am here to request your support with opioid remediation funding for the Cleveland Emergency Shelter. Our shelter is a low-barrier facility serving both individuals and families experiencing homelessness in Bradley County. We provide a safe place to sleep, meals, case management, and connections to local health and recovery services for those in crisis. Over the past several years, our shelter has seen a steady increase in guests struggling with substance use disorders, particularly the opioid addiction. Many of our residents arrive immediately after release from the hospital, incarceration, or street homelessness. These individuals often lack the stability and support and structure needed to begin recovery. Our staff encounter guests daily who are at a high risk of overdose or relapse. In some cases, families are directly impacted with children living in unstable, high-stress environments due to a parent's addiction. Without timely intervention, these cycles of instability and addiction continue. We at BCCSA and the shelter take a collaborative harm reduction approach to addressing this crisis. We partnered with Hamilton County Coalition, CADIS, Bradley Prevention, and other community organizations to connect individuals with counseling, recovery services, and treatment referrals. All of our staff have completed Narcan and harm reduction training to ensure we can respond safely and effectively in the event of an overdose while maintaining a secure environment for everyone in the shelter. Chairman Blake and committee, the opioid crisis meets us at our front door every single day at the shelter. That's why I'm happy to share that our program manager, who is with me today, Asia Whaley, is in the final stages of earning her certification as a certified peer recovery specialist through the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services. I'm going to ask Ms. Whaley if she would share.
Hello, everyone.
Hi there.
So I'm just going to make it real quick and be transparent about my own recovery journey. I've been at BCCSA for about 8 years. I came there to do community service, broken, not much work background. And so while there, and this is how I know this works, while there I was able to go back and get my GED and graduate college. Started off staying with family, ended up renting, and now I'm a homeowner. I lost custody of my children and was able to regain custody while working there. And so Caris Dental was a part of my recovery journey because that's where I got my teeth fixed at. And so Caring Place is beneficial to not only myself but my agency and shelter is because that's where I got my clothing at when I didn't have anything. And so I know these things work, and a lot of my clients are very receptive of what I'm saying, especially the drive on the way wherever we're going, because it's already worked for me. I'm so glad that we were trained as far as the Narcan, because every single day we just show up and expect the unexpected. Wildwood is very busy, and so while we're trying to provide a safe environment for those that already live there, there are people that are not done with whatever they're doing, and so they're wanting to entice those that stay there. And so we're constantly getting trained, constantly partnering with Bradley Prevention. They're coming over on the 21st, thank God, to give some awareness, and constantly partnering with the police department to kind of keep circling and coming over there and checking up on us. I told Demetrius that I was a little nervous about speaking, but I have to be transparent. I have to be the voice for the underdog, which is my clients. And the reason I went back and try to get some recertification and keep doing it to keep myself, my recovery at the top of my priority list. Yeah. Any questions? I don't want.
Any questions? Well, you're amongst friends. You don't have to worry about being in front of us. So appreciate your story there. You said you mentioned you work with the police officers, the city, and the county. In what capacity? As far as
Well,
you see something and you say something kind of thing, or
see something, say something, non-emergency number. We already, when you come to our shelter, we have to do a background check. And so we're constantly calling them throughout the day for that purpose. And so if it's someone off the streets or wherever, you know, that's coming over, enticing or whatever, we don't mind calling them, and they don't mind coming.
And we have some predators that know, especially at the first of the month, that we've got some vulnerable seniors and others who will be tempted to make some transactions. And so that's another reason why we engage the local police to just pass through during those times so that that presence is felt. Asia shared about the background checks. One of the main reasons for that is to ensure that we're keeping a safe space. We must ensure that if a sex offender or someone with a sex offense on the record comes to us, we're able to try to get them connected to a program that could help them, because we do have families present, children present in our facility.
Yes. Any questions for, thank you guys very much for your time. Appreciate it.
I missed the amount on that one.
Lord,
75?
Yeah.
Okay. And this year, you weren't?
I forgot one piece that I forgot to mention is very important. So thank you, Mayor. I submitted this proposal request prior to a notification from one of our largest funders. We are grateful for our partnership with Tennessee Housing Development Agency, who funds a number of our programs. Our agency is 90% of our funding comes from our pass through the state from the federal government. But we received some information last week that our primary funder of the shelter, the Emergency Solutions Grant, we would not be receiving that. HUD, the monies that passed through from HUD were reduced, and we are one of the agencies that has been impacted, and so that's $125,000 that we are short. And so this $75,000 that we are requesting from this fund is needed.
All right, thank you so much. Willow Ben is next.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Are y'all awake?
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm pulling up the caboose here.
Well, you're not last.
But I am so excited to be here before you all today, mainly because I've got to sit here in the room with all our partners and talk about the good work that's happening in Bradley County. And it's so cool to me. But we've been doing this work for 8.5 years now. We're coming up on 9 years in March. And our heart in the very beginning was collaboration and not competition. We wanted to see a continuum of care that took place in our community, from identification to prevention to being stewardship of citizens in our community as we worked with survivors of human trafficking. But when this organization started, we knew that we could not affect supply without affecting demand. And so it became very apparent from the very beginning that we needed to work the whole spectrum. And what we have come to know, and from my own personal experience as a survivor, is that we have not served one survivor in over 8.5 years. That's over 1,500 individuals that were not, in fact, impacted by the drug crisis. That's over 1,500. So when we began learning, because it's been a learning journey to find how are we going to do this? Where do we start? We started learning from others who had gone before us, learning from other states, learning from other communities, because we knew we didn't need to reinvent the wheel, but we needed to mobilize, and we needed to mobilize quickly. In 2019, we started in 2017. In 2019, I was able to have a conversation with the mayors of this community, the city and county mayor, with our district attorney, with our law enforcement, with FBI, TBI, Homeland Security, and we all got together and we said, we're going to do something about it. And we started the first ever in the state of Tennessee Human Trafficking and Opioid Task Force right here in Bradley County. So many things have taken place out of that. Being able to model things. We wanted to be a blueprint that other communities could model. So now not only, kind of like what Zandra was saying from ATS The Bridge, what is happening in Bradley County is being modeled in other communities. And it's really amazing to see that take place. Now, this is the first year that Willow Bend has come and asked for any of the opioid money. And so I do want to talk about that just a little bit. If you will open up your packets, I've got our proposal request in there, and it's talks about Bradley County leading the prevention charge. We are doing so much, and we're doing it together. The Bradley Prevention Coalition, we were a part of that COSAP grant, and the loss, or the not getting funded again, I guess, is the better way to say that, because you're right, Mayor, it was not a loss of funding. It was not getting selected again in that lottery, was a big hit to our community as a whole. But being able to partner together on those things in our community has made us be effective, not just one organization, but as a community. We trademarked the Are You Awake? That's why I asked you, are you awake? Not because you've just been sitting listening to presentations, right? But also because it's important for you to be awake, for the community to be awake. And Are You Awake is not just one thing. We hold a conference. It's the Human Trafficking and Drug Endangered Children Conference. We do that every year. But it is also how we connect services, victims to services. It's how we are able to go into the schools. It's how we're able to partner with all of these different agencies. So it's prevention, it's connection, it's keeping families safe, and then also empowering our community through those resources. So our request of $25,000 is really to further the capacity of prevention. We didn't come in at a big ask because we knew we have so many partners. And it's a hard job to be able to come in and say these things. But then you've got entities like Bradley Prevention that if they don't have the funding, they might close. We don't need them to close. We work so tightly with them. All of us in this room probably do. But we are big on that collaboration. Over 50 local, state, and federal partners. We had a sting in Bradley County in August 19th. And I was on site for that. Since 2019, I've been on all of the ops in this region of the state with TBI, with Homeland Security, and with whatever local agency we may be working in. But August 19th of this year, we held a sting right here in Bradley County. And there were a number of different people that were impacted. Some were arrested. We had some predators that were arrested. Those soliciting sex for a minor were arrested. But also you had 5 ladies show up who needed services. And not a one of those did not have the nexus of opioids and human trafficking. Sometimes the question is, does trafficking lead to drugs or drugs lead to trafficking? What do you think the answer is? It's yes. We've seen it happen both ways. With the average age of entry being 12 to 13 years old, we do a lot in the juvenile justice system. We are able to partner with Judge Morgan and his wonderful team to come in and do some risk assessment if there's the suspicion that something may be coming in. So we have advocates that go in. We also now have survivors on staff who have come through all of our programs because all of our residential part of our programs are safe houses. And so the locations are not known. That's why you don't have any other survivors standing before you today. We have survivors that are now on staff that have come through all of our programs, who have informed all of our programs. We just went through our 5-year evaluation period of evidence-based work, which was pretty cool to do, to learn from those that we're serving, but for survivors to be able to impact survivors. Part of this funding would go to, kind of like you, Asia, CPRS training. It's needed, right? It's needed in the work. it's needed to impact, because who can speak to a person better than someone that's been directly impacted by it? So part of that funding will go towards that, because we've got survivors on staff, and this $25,000, like right now, because we're a nonprofit and everybody behind me will be able to fill this here in a second, we're paying 25% under market value for our staffing. A survivor doesn't deserve that. A survivor deserves the very best. So some of that will go to CPRS training. Will go into an influx of them being able to provide, to buy homes. We've seen reunification with their families. We've seen individuals going on to restore their lives. Freedom financially, mentally, spiritually, physically, in all areas of their life. And so that is the request that we have today. I did include a restoration report for you. If you want to hear a survivor speak, there's a page in here on page 9. It's Survivor Speak. They might not be before you today because some of them, their trafficker is still looking for them. And our long haul of working with a survivor, we've got some that I've been working with for 7 or 8 years, but we're seeing them through to the other side. But prosecutions on these cases take 3 to 5 years, so it's a long-term investment when you're working with someone. It's kind of like what Suzanne was saying. You know, you've got these places like the caring places that are impacting so many right up front, whereas we may be focused on these individuals for a longer-term effect. Last year, we served 246 survivors. We provided over 10,000 services. And that goes in a wide range of things. But if you want to hear a survivor speak, I invite you. There's a couple of different sections that are in there. And then on the very last, or next to the last section, we'll go over our stats if you're interested in learning more about those. But I am happy to answer any questions that you may have.
These are 2024 stats.
They are 2024 stats,
so
yes.
Obviously, they've probably changed in one way or the other. So
Yes.
as we get into 2026.
Yes.
So the 25,000 will be used in 2026.
Yes.
For
it will go. So we put on a Are You Awake conference every year. And a couple of years ago, it was hosted here in Bradley County, and we have school professionals, educators, counselors, other nonprofits who come and attend that. We have 18 breakout sessions. There's a number of different things. It would provide scholarships for 50 county individuals to be able to attend that at no cost. It is very specialized training. We have psychiatrists. We have, the Drug Endangered Child Task Force comes. ATS The Bridge has presented. We have a number of different partners that actually present and give really specialized. What is trafficking? How do we impact change? How do we create these multidisciplinary teams? It really creates action going forward. Then also on staffing and case management. But more of that's going to direct services, your counseling, your substance abuse recovery, your recovery classes, and then the CPRS training for the individuals that we have on staff.
I'm just looking at some of your nice bar charts and so that. Most of you are female, looks like, when you look at that one right there.
You have a higher margin of
25 to
individuals that
59-year-olds.
will identify as that are female. We do serve male survivors. You just see a decrease in that. There's a lot with identification. Males are less likely to identify. But the first male that we ever served was a 52-year-old white male right here in Bradley County.
I mean, for obviously it's sex trafficking.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, I've always kind of suspected, you have to forgive, I guess, some of us don't know this world as much as we should.
Mm-hmm.
But I suspected that drugs and human trafficking were going hand in hand. If
Yep.
the people who are pushing this, that's the right word, pusher, we're dealing with the drug world and the human trafficking world.
Yeah. And we have literally, it's been every person that we've worked with. We've not worked with one in over 1,500 individuals who did not have that happening. And again, it's sometimes the drugs is leading to the trafficking. I mean, you will see, moms starting to make decisions that normally they would not make to sell their child because that's the commodity and they're making their decision out of a substance abuse mind. And the stat on recovery, you're 2 years from last use before you're even starting to make appropriate decision making. And, there's a whole science behind that.
Well, thank you very much. I remember when you started. You've been there since the very beginning, right?
Yes.
I remember that. Well, thank you very much for your time. Any other questions, commissioners, mayor?
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right, that is all of them, correct, Lori? All right. So, as I mentioned at the beginning, we've got all the documentation. I will ask that if any commissioners have any follow-up questions, you'll get with Lori and send it to them. If there's any follow-ups, got lots of documentation and stuff to go through. And at the Finance Committee in November, we will basically, you can imagine, I think one of you already said, it's going to be tough. On one side, you guys all deal with this. I'm sure you, in a way, I wish that you didn't have this problem, right? I think that's kind of stating the obvious, that we didn't have this problem, but we do. But we have limited funding, and you guys are dealing with limited funding, so we got to make some tough decisions, because if I took every single one of your requests, it would be above the amount that we have to offer, and obviously we can't write a bad check. Well, so.
Hey, Miles, if I could add,
Yeah.
you've had requested 515,000, but I can tell you've a little bit of experience with all of these groups. You've got 8 wonderful organizations applying here. It's amazing how many people doesn't even know that these organizations exist. 8 organizations just here today that are doing a tremendous, wonderful job in Bradley County, and they're all needed.
Yeah,
Whether they need the amount they've requested, I'm not saying, but they're all great organizations, so you can't go wrong with any of them. I can tell you that.
I mean, you got, I see it, and you guys can correct me. On one side, you've got the prevention, hopefully that no one ever gets into the drug world. But then you also have the ones like probably prevention or whatever that are standing before a judge that's been arrested or whatever, and we're trying to give them the help that they need so that
Takes
that's
both
not the life
sides.
that they live for the rest of their life and whatever. And hopefully it's a long life, whatever. All that to say, thank you guys very much for your time sitting through us going through amendments. Today's a lucky day. We only had 16. But that's our plan, is to get with the commissioners, get with the mayor on the funding package, and then ultimately the full commission will vote in, and then deal with Lori on how that happens, especially for the new people. Any questions for me or anything? Very good. All right, going to back to our agenda. Let's see what we have here. We did the budget. Other business. I'm required by law. How's that? To recognize anybody who would like 5 minutes. And you. All right, our November Finance Committee meeting will be November the 3rd, 2025, here in the Commission Room at 11:30. One of the things Commissioner Slater and I chatted the other day is kind of get an update on ARP money, or where we are. I got the closed purchase order report the other day, and then obviously what we budgeted, and then where we're at. So it's probably a good time, because obviously, Mayor, we're getting, I guess, pretty close to the point where at the end of this time next year, we pretty much need to be finalizing how all 22 million either has been spent or will be spent, because I saw the report the other day that we're now getting about 22,000 a month in interest. It used to be up in the 70s, but obviously it came down because some people have paid the bills. But I did see the report that Cleveland Utilities and some other, I won't go through the whole report, but there's still some open POs and then what we have budgeted. So we need to get a better idea of where we are and what we projected as far as revenue goes in the budget. So in the November, if we'll have that as an agenda item, Lori will get a better in-depth on that. And I started working on some numbers over the weekend. All right, Mary, do you have anything?
Can we also get an update on the Cleveland Emergency Shelter, that ARP money?
Yeah, I will be finding out the status. As you all know, they have gone through the process of applying for a grant to build a new, they call it something other than a shelter, but a shelter is a part of it. I don't know when that's supposed to come back. We have the matching money still sitting there for that. I was telling Mylan earlier, that may be one that we have to draw the line at some point in the near future and say, if it's not approved, we're moving this to something else. But in their defense, they're at the mercy of federal grants right now, and sort of like the coalition. Hopefully that works out, but we can't lose the money, so we'll move it to something else if we need to. I'm suggesting we give them to the end of this budget year and then turn around and do something at the beginning of next budget year, because we've got to the end of calendar year next year.
Of
But it needs to be,
26.
yeah, so it needs to be gone and spent and in our report by the end of 26.
That's the trick, so to speak, is it has to be not only appropriated,
Right.
it has to be spent. So
We'll have to
once
turn
we,
around.
once
and-
we
and-
end the 26, 27
Yeah, we
budget.
can't commit it to
Yeah.
more broadband, for example, that takes forever. We'll have to commit it to
Oh.
something that can spend it real quick. And it's still got to be ARP related, but we'll know that in the near future. In the meantime, maybe by next month, when you're talking about, we'll have a better idea on that grant. The last time I asked them, they still were just waiting.
You want that as an agenda item?
Please.
Yeah.
Well, if the federal government's going to stay shut down, they're not going to get an answer.
There you go. All right. If there's nothing else, thank you guys very much, and we'll see you in 1 month.